Holy triple X, the return of Zander Cage, Batman! Tiki here, and I am watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell him why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
And tonight we're talking season 1. I'm sorry, season 3, episode 11. The Curse of the Cobra, part 2. All right, so Dragon, I don't want to say this was a better episode than part 1, because it probably wasn't. But for me, it's a little bit more fun just because of how off the fucking rails this episode goes. And I got to admit, I do think that this episode is kind of a fun standalone episode for Max as well. And I think that kind of puts it a little bit over the edge for me. Certainly not a great episode, certainly not a good a great showing for Batman Beyond just in general, especially this late into the series run when we're, just dangerously close to the final episode. But I don't know, man. I had a good time with this. I certainly don't think it was like, for better or for worse, Dragon, I don't think this episode is forgettable like part 1 was. I definitely think all the memorably stupid shit happens in this episode.
Okay. All right, so let me give you a little context on this one. So this was directed by the great Dan Reba, Cheesy Dan himself.
Cheesy Dan.
It's Cheesy Dan. Not only brought us Cheesy Dan, which appeared in he directed the episode where I believe we were introduced to Cheesy Dan. By the way, Bloodsport. He directed Bloodsport. He directed Centuries of the Last Cosmos, which is a game that is at Cheesy Dan's. He just really wanted to franchise this place, I'm convinced. And Speak No Evil.
Uh-huh.
So the writer on this was so it's twofold. So the idea is a lot of times with two-parters, you're going to have a writer who brings it to the room, so he'll be involved in both episodes, but basically hand off the writing duties mainly to the second guy. So Rich Fogel wrote the first episode. That was all him. And then, so he wrote the first one. He basically had story credit on this one. So again, it's basically he kind of got this party started, and then it got handed off to the Burke, got handed off to Stan Berkowitz. So of course, Rich Fogel, he also did Centuries of the Last Cosmos and Bloodsport, teaming up with Dan Reba. Where Stan Berkowitz, writer from Burke, he's done a lot of great episodes. Did Rebirth. He was on Rebirth. He did.
Yes, it makes sense for me that this episode is stronger than part 1. Then, when you look at it that way.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I think it's a mixed bag because with that in mind, it's an episode where Berkowitz didn't bring it to the room, so it's not like a true Stan Berkowitz episode.
Oh, it's absolutely not like one of his best. Absolutely not. I'm just saying compared.
That's what I'm saying. Like, think about this. Berkowitz, he did like part 2 of Rebirth, or he had hands in part 2 of Rebirth. He did Sneak Peek and Where's Terry? 3 great episodes. Studio worked on this. Tiki, brace yourself.
I'm so glad I only have to do this 2 more times.
Well, no, it's going to be more than 2 more times.
Well, we have 2 more episodes of this show after this.
Yes. Anyway, so studio that worked on this, you guessed it. It's Dong Yang with major assistance from Coco.
Major assistance, not just a splash this time?
No, I just wanted to kind of like say it a little bit.
Just wanted to twist it up.
Like Dong Yang's there, but major assist. Little slice of pie, big slice of pie. All right, so as I mentioned before, I'm just going to restate it here and we'll get into it. Just no one was really thrilled with how part 2 turned out. When they look back on this one, because they had they had a human story, and then it just kind of turned into they were hoping they were going to be able to run with a lot of
Part two goes
the.
off the rails really fucking quick, Dragon.
That's the
Really
thing.
fucking
So
quick.
again, they were really liking the whole all the stuff they set up with Zander, and then basically, and it's dinosaur people. That's where it just kind of went off the rails. That was like the thing in the room of like, and we have Dino Men. Dino Men is basically where it's like all the subtlety of the episode just
I
went
just
out the
want to state for
window.
the record that whenever we see the Dino Man that's in the thumbnail here, I just think it's Rob Walker in the Velociraptor mask.
Yep.
All right. Anyways,
And we also mentioned that this is where they really kind of shot themselves in the foot with Kobra.
oh yeah.
And Cobra's already kind of like it was kind of it was a visual gimmick, and they just they want a memorable terrorist cell they could come back to. And I
I mean,
think
snakes aren't dinosaurs. Like birds are closer to dinosaurs than snakes are.
I know we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't get ahead of it.
All right.
But you see what I mean? It's just the fact that this episode, you get. I always got the sense that this was the episode they wanted to try and legitimize Cobra, but it went so off the rails into it ended up shooting him in the foot. You know, where it's
Right.
like we had Cobra, they've been in the background, we've seen the costume, and it's like, hey, what if they, what if they actually did something? We got to know him a little bit through the Zander character, and what do? We turn him into a dinosaur, and then it's. Yeah. Let's just say we might be bringing him back, but yeah.
Oh dear God! Really? Oh my God!
Yeah. So anyway,
Like within the next 2 episodes?
do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ!
I told you they shot themselves in the foot
Wow.
with Kobra.
That's honestly shocking, Dragon.
But again,
Honestly.
Tiki, no matter where we go in the next 2 episodes, I want you to recall because you keep emphasizing the finality. We do have some very important supplemental stuff we do have to cover after we reach the end point of the show.
Okay, got it.
So again, like we're tracking the end of the DCAU, which of course ends with Batman Beyond, but not necessarily the show.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
All right, so really quick before we jump into it, Kogias is here, of course. He says, in yesterday's thumbnail, Max was pretending not to notice Terry, but in tonight's thumbnail, the villains are pretending not to notice her. Even the dinosaur is amused by that. And of course, more jokes about the advertising the Batcave on the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Batman dinosaur episodes, the 1960s Batman episode where Egghead tries to hatch a dinosaur egg is still the best. That sounds delightful.
Yeah.
I hope Egghead just at one point just very salaciously just says eggs, much like my beloved Land Before Time 2 villain.
Do you remember I don't know if you remember this. Remember the story about when they shot the Egghead episode on 60s Batman?
I can't say I do.
Burt Ward was kind of feeling himself a little bit. He was he was basically kind of becoming a pain for the writers. Like I don't know if necessarily it was like it wasn't line counting, but it was like something. Or he basically said, "I want more to do" or stuff like that. And the writers they basically what they would do to get back at him at times, like, and then Robin gets kidnapped. And in this case, it was like, okay, and then Egghead grabs Robin, and Egghead just pelts him with eggs. So that was their revenge. So if you look at that episode, I think it's part 2 specifically. It's like you'll see like Robin like getting like a whole bunch of egg cartons just smashed on his head. That's the writers say. We like Bert, but we don't like Bert as much as Bert likes Bert.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
All right, so let's get things started after a pretty long previously on that really kind of sets up like this epic sort of like, like really much more of a build up than this episode really deserves.
You know why that is, don't you?
Why?
Because the episode came in short.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
That's if you ever notice all the part 2s. I mean, literally all of them in the DCAU, all part 2s are a little shorter than the part 1 because
I have noticed that. Yes.
All the setups in part 1. Traditionally, the Better Animation Studio also does part 1. If you really look at it, with few exceptions, to Clayface being a prime example. Clayface is a very well, TMS did part 2 of Clayface. And it's mainly because they have the recap and they're building a climax. Essentially, all the good setups in part one, but we saved the memorable climax for part two. And we're basically padding out the climax.
All right, so we start with Bruce waking up Terry. It was just a minor concussion.
Yep, you're lucky. It was a mild concussion and 4 cracked ribs. And then we have so now let's mention this. Kevin Conroy, as always, but especially in this episode where he doesn't really have a lot to do, he's in rare form. Bruce Wayne, he's in rare form this episode. We have a lot of great Conroy contenders here. Some good lines like they'll hurt when you move. Breathing won't be much fun either.
Yeah, I think Conroy and of course Cree Summers, like I said, I think they kind of saved this episode from just being a total train wreck. Like, at the very least, I think they make this episode watchable.
Yeah.
All right.
Bruce Wayne here, I love that. Again, it's like the big charm factor of these 2 episodes is Bruce Wayne kind of like enjoying seeing Terry gonna be put through his paces and just seeing another guy go through it, It's like the next generation. Also, just with what Bruce has been doing these 2 episodes, especially this episode, he's becoming Alfred. He's patching him up, and he's got the witty barbs. And
a little bit, yeah.
This is like Alfred bedside manner that Bruce is doing here, which I found so. Again, if you look at the arc of Bruce Wayne through Batman Beyond, he's gone from very hermetized old man to he's accepting his fate of Alfred. He's becoming the father. He's becoming the father.
My God, I've become my non-biological father.
Yeah. Okay. So Terry is in a panic over Max. Like, oh my God, Max! His ribs and everything. It's not good for him. Zander got her, but Bruce points out you're in no condition to go get her. But I'm her only hope, Obi-Wan. So then we have a great Conroy line.
You forget who you're talking to.
Have you forgotten who you're talking to?
Yeah, that's definitely a contender for sure.
So then, I got to admit, this is a great Conroy coming up just for the sake of. It hits me in the headcanon feels, let's call it. We have a bad entrance. It's a kind of a bad entrance gag where Bruce Wayne shows up at he and Kairi kind of have a little reunion at the fish market in the dojo. She tosses like a cleaver, like a fish cleaver at him.
Right at the cane. Honestly, the visual of the knife hitting the cane is so satisfying to me.
Yep.
It's just very smooth animation.
I'm with you. It's great. It's pretty cool. But again, the line that he has, and I love the way Conroy delivers this, he says, "Sorry, old habit." There's a little, just like he said, I'm reading into it, I know, but for my own benefit, I like seeing a little bit of sadness in that line because, my headcanon, that's his way of saying, I miss Jim Gordon.
Yeah, no, I read that too, for sure.
The whole, he used to, he would always.
No, it was really cool to see a bat entrance, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So he's looking for Zander because he kidnapped someone, and again, Bruce Wayne, ever the detective here. You look disappointed, but not surprised.
So, Dragon, as we already established, part 1 wasn't exactly the most memorable episode to me, even though I literally just watched it last night. Can you remind me exactly how much exposition we get on Zander? Because he goes from one of my brightest students to oh yeah, Zander, he was raised by a cult from when he was a kid to take over the cult.
Okay, now,
did we get that in part 1? Did we get any hint of that?
Well, we saw it. We, the audience, saw it. Now,
no, I know we saw it, but I'm saying from Kairi's point of view.
Well, again, we know she took him on and she's no dummy, but she didn't spell that out, but she wouldn't spell that out. She would know it in advance. So we know that. But
it's it's a lot, Dragon. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, we didn't know that she knew that, but I think
right.
That's the reason she probably would.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so basically she connects the dots here saying, oh, he's part of some cult, and she knew he was taking a chance with him, but basically her attempt... She tried steering him in the right direction using the code of the Bushido code, which is basically the samurai code. It's like Samurai Jack, the idea that a samurai will always give you warning before unleashing damage.
I kind of read it less samurai and more like Harry's code.
No, come on.
No, a little bit. Am I wrong? Am I
No.
off base
Harry's
on that?
code's a completely different thing. Harry's code's like if you're gonna kill someone, make sure you know all the
Well, I'm
facts.
saying if you're gonna be a crazy cult leader, at least have a fucking like moral code about it. I don't know.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Look at like a samurai code is actually a moral code of okay, you're gonna try and do the right thing. At the very least, you're gonna give your enemy fair warning before you do severe damage to them. That's the Bushido code.
I'm just saying with the Harry's code thing. I know it's a different philosophy. I'm just saying that it reminds me of it just in the context of she's taking someone who she knows is troubled and trying to steer them in another
Oh well, in
direction.
that case, yeah, you could.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
there
all
you
I'm
go.
saying.
All right,
Yeah.
if that's now, I get what you're saying. Okay, yes, in that
All
case,
right.
yes,
All
it
right.
is. Harry's code actually is an apt comparison. There you go.
Okay.
So, but yeah, but here's the thing: I like that samurai on her mind because of Yoro Sensei. Yeah, so again, basically giving the guy samurai conscience to hopefully steer in the right direction or curb his potentially dangerous tendencies. She gives Bruce Wayne his phone number, and this is a nice bit here. He's walking off. Haven't you ever been wrong?
That is a nice bit. Yeah.
But it's a song. It's a bit of a somber bit. This is like the last time these two really interact. It's the whole there's no answer, and she feels guilty about this. Bruce he doesn't because Bruce is right. She should have known a little better on this one. Like it was a very opportune. She brought in a
Well,
cult leader.
the thing that kind of is weird about this whole scene is, I mean, I guess it just makes sense that she would know about him, but she says the whole oh yeah, he's just part of some crazy dinosaur cult.
Well, she didn't say dinosaur.
No, I know she
doesn't
doesn't
know.
say. I know, I'm exaggerating, but basically what I'm saying, Dragon, is she's basically saying that he's part of this cult in the same way that some youth mentor might say, yeah, he's had some slip ups with drugs every once in a while, but he's a good kid at heart. It's no, the cult thing is not just something that you intervene with, lady.
Now that's another thing too, where we had some culty things, but we never explicitly said it, but we act like we did. Like Terry says, "Oh yeah, he won't say anything about the cult." Like he and Terry did not have that. They had pizza. They had a conversation about pizza, and that's all we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a little, but I mean, I can understand Terry putting the pieces together. They has, his handlers, that's as much. We saw him have
The
handlers.
handlers, I definitely think, are the best indication for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, but we never really, it wasn't really spelled out. That's as much a hint that we got. But Terry never. He never asked him a single question about a cult. All right. Okay, so point being, Kairi, she's.
I wonder how Aaron from Mitchell's versus the Machines would feel about this episode, Dragon.
That's a good question.
Anyways,
all right, let's see.
just because the thought went through my head, if only Terry had asked him about dinosaurs.
Yep, if only. Would have been a whole different outcome.
God.
Okay, let's see. So we're back in the Batcave. They're it's not slides, but it's computer time in the Batcave.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the cousin of the slide. So Bruce Wayne, he's basically decrypting. He's trying to unblock the signal so they can trace the phone number
Mm-hmm.
out of the ribs. Well, I'm trying not to move, but the breathing thing, and then yet another great. It's a wall to wall great Conroy this episode here. Don't blame yourself. Why? It's my fault. I know, but blaming's not productive.
Yeah, definitely. I don't disagree at all. I think every line from him is a contender for sure.
Now, I'm not just trying to put on a pedestal every line here. That one's a really good one because that's the wizened Batman who knows now, and we've seen this all the time. With great examples just even in comics, like Scott Snyder, great scene in Death of the Family. Alfred's been kidnapped, and Bruce is internalizing in his head. He's debating himself. He's saying, "No, Bruce, don't blame yourself. Don't think about all the horrible things he's doing to Alfred." He's trying to compartmentalize the blame because he knows it's not productive. And we're kind of voicing that here. Just the idea this is a Batman who's been through it all, and he knows through years of worrying over things and blaming himself and kicking himself. It's not gonna change the outcome. It's not gonna motivate you to find the answers faster. It's just gonna get in the way.
Sure.
All right. So let's see. So we have this cool, cool binary kind of effect, and we finally decrypt it. And it's in the shape of a cobra.
It's a little bit of a BS, but you know what? It's a cool visual, so I'll give it a pass. It's just like logically, how does that work? I don't know. Who
Well, no, I
knows?
think it's like, hey,
It's not a phone number dragon. That's all I'm saying.
well, it's more of like a trace, I guess. They're trying to trace like where it goes to. I guess like to the computer systems of Kobra. Maybe it's in the future, so it's more like goes a phone that can link up to the computer. Maybe I don't know.
All right.
They did look. It was like 2000. All right, they didn't know how it was going to work.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They're going off Jetson's phone logic. All right, so
It more reminds me of like the Jurassic Park visualization of how the computer hacking works. That's what it reminds
I
me
mean,
of.
it's maybe. I think about this. It's we're kind of at that place now where if you could basically dial someone on your phone to do like a Zoom call or something, you would have like an icon like that would pop up, and it might be a snake.
It might be a snake. All right, fair enough, Dragon. I don't want to argue semantics.
Well, we're not to argue. I'm just saying it's possible. That's
all right. We're spending entirely too much time on this one point.
The rest of this is a lot of fighty fights. Gonna go by like that.
I know. But we also have a lot of good Max content to get to, so let's get into that.
Right, so Terry suits up because Max is in danger. They find out the cult is Kobra, which is who has the bomb, and that's not good. So, wait, what about your breathing problem? I'll breathe on the weekend.
I think that's a contender for a great Terry moment. Honestly.
There you go.
But you know what, Dragon? You know what? I honestly could fucking see that being a Ron Stoppable trying to be tough line.
Absolutely. See that's what
right.
Yeah, what I wish they do this sort of thing all the time.
I'll breathe on the weekend, Kim.
Now, Rob Paulson's done this sort of thing all the time on one of his podcasts where he would have, like them like say lines and like the voices of different characters. So imagine if Will Friedle as Ron Stubble would read a lot of the cool Batman lines.
Oh, I could totally see it. Yeah.
I'll just breathe on the weekends, KP. oh, even better. Okay, you know what they should have done? Okay. In part one, when he's learning the martial arts, if you had that, why? Just all the monkey kung fu sounds from Impossible. Okay. All right, let's see. So Max comes to, we open the episode. Terry's coming to, and now so is Max.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming to. Why don't you take us through it?
Well, I mean. There's so much fucking batshit stupid shit in here, Dragon. I mean, just first of all, just her reaction to the dinosaur.
Well, she comes to in like a slave layer costume. We should probably talk about that.
Right.
Then the servant girls are saying like, "Oh man, it's warm." Oh, it's not that warm. Trust us, it's going to get a lot hotter.
Yeah, so one thing aesthetically that I kind of like about this is that I do like the whole kind of King Tut vibe of her bed chambers mixed with the like space industrial vibe of the rest of the ship. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a neat little visual transition.
I mean, again, I really do like the whole we're leaning into the Egyptian Cobra kind of vibe. Like that's kind of neat.
I just think the fucking dinosaur thing just loves it, though, Dragon. They should be snake people, not dinosaurs.
I know. You think I don't know that? Yes.
I mean, you tease the whole "let's see how snake-like he can be" thing, but he doesn't become very snake-like at all.
Well, that was the gag, Teak. It's like let's see how snake-like he can be. In reality, not at all. He's not.
Dragon, I was looking forward to Zander the snake. I just want to let you know that.
I mean, hey, look at this though. Look at his hat.
Oh God.
Apparently, that's how snake-like he can be. He can be much more dinosaur-like. He can look kind of snake-like, with a funny hat.
I honestly think he looks more snake-like in this form than dinosaur form.
That's what look left and right. There on the left, there's the dinosaur. On the right, there's the snake.
Oh God.
That's what he wants to be. That's what he should be. All right, anyways, the point being, Max, she evades like the servant girls and she knocks them out. Like Max taking charge there. But then she's no match for the Dino Man. And anyway, so Max is then taken to Zander, who's now wearing his silly Egyptian Cobra outfit, which
Can I just say, like Zander just fucking his character just has like a whole season's worth of fucking character development in between part 1 and part 2, and it's pretty inexplicable.
Yeah, we kind of took a nosedive on the Xander stuff.
Because
Yeah,
like part 1, I was genuinely like a little bit compelled about his, kind of like, he's kind of, I say this mostly because of the pizza thing, but he's kind of got that pigeon man quality where he's a recluse, but he kind of wants to fit in, but he can't. But no, here he's just fucking like Looney Tunes, just from the jump.
And again, it really is a shame because again, I can buy the premise of we have this guy that Terry kind of spends a little time with who has this destiny, and he becomes deluded that he's going to be something important, and he basically a guy who's like, as we cover in this episode, like the seeds are there. This guy was raised to be the leader of a cult, to be the leader of to be a world leader, and he's very deluded because of that. And he's got like an Alexander the Great chip on his shoulder. And through Max and Terry, we can kind of broach the humanity and like the layers on this guy. Unfortunately, we don't really have the facilities to do that. Like Max spending an episode with this guy might have been really interesting, but we kind of went a different way within the third act.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do like how, like, Max... One thing I like about Max, just in general with this episode, is how proactive she is. And I've always liked that about her character. So I will give her credit where credit's due in that case.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kogias is saying it's too bad that they couldn't use King Tut. I could see them, like, not even, like, specifically using King Tut, but maybe, like, kind of drawing from him a little bit,
look at False Face. So False Face was an example of we took a 60s Batman villain and we did this twice in Batman Beyond. We took two 60s Batman villains and we kind of modernized them and tried to legitimize them. Now, one of these was the Emmy Bait episode. Ma Mayhem's essentially now the Ma Parker.
Right.
So that one clearly, you can only legitimize that so much. Basically, they legitimize her to be she's Kingpin in a dress. That's essentially what they were going for. Now, False Face is like, okay, how do you legitimize, False Face? Well, okay, maybe he's working. Essentially, he's working for the International. And essentially, he was working for Kobra. So that was the first Kobra episode, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but I could see if you do like an Egyptian pharaoh thing, like we're doing here, but we took Kobra out of it, or better yet, what if the big reveal of Kobra is that the leader of Kobra in this future iteration is King Tut, the legitimized cool King Tut? What if Zander What if the reveal is Xander's like the younger, cooler version of King Tut?
I think that would have been cool.
There you go.
Kokiat says, now I want to see Netflix Kingpin in a dress.
Now he could play that guy. We've seen him play Thor. We have. Can't take that away from him.
All right.
Okay. So let's see. Anyway, so point being, we have Tiki. How he's a leader of a snake cult. Do you know how?
How?
He's got a cobra around his wrist, like an actual cobra.
Right. Just inexplicably.
And he's wearing a snake hat. That's how you know.
This is what I'm talking about, Dragon. It really feels like this really feels like, there's some videos that I see where people will watch like the beginning and the ending of a show, like the first episode and the last episode of a show. And this feels like that's it, right? Where it's like, part 1 is just like the start of Xander's arc, and then suddenly we get to part 2, and he's just a completely transformed person, just inexplicably overnight. He's literally nothing like how he was in part 1 for the most part.
See, the sad part is all of Xander's, all the interesting Xander development that we have, the only stuff we were really missing in part 1, we do get in part 2, but it's condensed into this very convenient montage where Max is playing it smart, trying to play nice. Like, maybe I could befriend the snakes if I learn more about them. So then we have this again, not a slideshow, but we have the expo presentation.
Indeed.
This is what I'm saying. Here's what dawned on me in the episode. So we've kind of done this twice in Batman Beyond. Interestingly enough, we have 2 kind of proto Damian Wayne stories here. Okay, so. We kind of set up with Ra's al Ghul's plan a little bit there. The whole I'm going to return to Gotham as the long lost son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, of course, little Damian Wayne. Here, though, this whole upbringing, a lot of this is Damian Wayne. He was a test tube baby. He was bred to be like the perfect heir for Ra's al Ghul because Batman said no. A lot of that. Here's what I realized in this episode. I never realized before. It feels like there was an attempt at what if we gave Terry his own Ra's al Ghul, only they fumbled the ball tremendously.
Oh man, I mean, Jesus Christ! If fucking Zander is supposed to be, all right, you know what, Dragon? I'm gonna do it. I know that you don't watch Survivor, but I'm gonna pull out a Survivor quote, and I think it's relevant to this situation. All right, I'm gonna paraphrase it here. Dragon, he's not Mike Tyson. He's Zander. All right, that didn't land as much as I thought it would.
But do you see my point, though? Does it feel a little bit like that? That it feels like we have some qualities here that feel like, I'm not saying.
I mean, look, I'm not really an expert on Damian Wayne, as you might guess, but yeah, there's definitely some similarities there.
Well, no, I mean less Damian. I'm just saying in general, it feels like on some level they were trying to do a Ra's al Ghul thing with Zander.
On some level, sure.
Again, not successful.
I mean, especially in the plan, you're right. The plan is very apocalyptic out of nowhere. Honestly.
I'm just saying, you look at Ra's al Ghul's plan, Batman the Animated Series. I'm going to drop a bomb in all the Lazarus pits and flood the land, and basically it will affect the environment in a positive way.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Sure. But yeah, in the case here with the Cobra plan, it's like, we're going to raise all the temperatures and everything, and so I'm just saying there's something a little similar to that, and that's when it kind of clicks with you that, that's kind of a Ra's al Ghul plan. We have some Bond elements here. This is kind of this. I wonder if there was an agenda here. Now I don't think there really was, but it feels suspiciously like either as a missed opportunity or I don't know, because we had the friendship with Terry, and unfortunately, we just did nothing to pay that off. But it just feels
absolutely nothing. They barely even acknowledge that they know each other in this episode.
Because it feels like they're trying to make Zander like a respectable, interesting character. Almost again. I'm not saying.
And like I said, Dragon, the fact that they actually fucking do more with him is genuinely wild to me. Genuinely wild.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, let's see. Anyway, so the point being, he's a test tube baby. He's been trained and groomed to be the leader. Also, a little Easter egg: the guy who created splicing, Dr. Cuvier, he popped up in the flashback, giving him the injector.
Nice.
So that's why we have all the splicing in this episode.
I mean, I will say this episode is a decent kind of conclusion to the splicing arc, assuming we don't do a lot more with it in the next two episodes.
No. Look, Zander's not coming back. This is it for Zander. I'm just saying, the cult, Kobra, is around.
Wait. Okay, you specifically said Zander.
No, I said Kobra.
Okay, I think I specifically asked you about Zander. Okay, well that's good. That's a relief. Okay.
Yeah, then Zander's not coming back. Just
thank Kobra. God. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. Kobra's the thing that it's an organization. It's gonna be around.
Uh-huh.
Now you have to question the logic though of if Zander's gone, what was their plan B? But yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled with that, especially considering, like I said, we only have so many episodes. I want this show to end on some sort of satisfying note. It's probably not going to.
No, it's going to end satisfyingly. Just give it a little time.
Give it literally one more episode, and then it'll end satisfying.
No, I don't know if I need a flow chart to explain this to you. There's going to be episodes after the two episodes.
Okay, I know.
Anyway.
I'm just saying, Dragon, there is something to be said about a satisfying series finale, whether or not we are going to be covering more after that.
Okay. All right, anyway. So, let's see. So, Max, she's not thrilled, and, the Dr. Child series, I told you this was a bad idea bringing this girl here. This is I want a girl with a mind. She's a person. She's a person.
That line, dude. That line. Fucking hell. She's a person.
It feels like a Tim Curry line. I can't tell you why. She's a person.
Oh my God. This is fucking really stupid logic to me, too. It's like, I get the appeal of wanting someone who's going to be a little bit headstrong and not just go with the grain of everything that you're doing. But at the same time, I fully support this other dude who's like, yo, this woman is going to, like, do nothing but get in the way of everything you're trying to do. And she's, like, being very upfront about
Like,
that.
you're not going to woo this lady, man. Again, I have these servants who worship the ground you walk on. Just go with one of them.
But she's a person.
She's a person.
Oh, dear.
They're alive, 'cause I'm alive. Okay, so, let's see. So, Kobra cleverly masked their location as a toxic waste dump. As a toxic waste facility, and what better way to get people to avoid a place than Terry has like the cheeky line, like call it a high school. Again, a Ron Stoppable line.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so he breaks in. Now this is good. I'm going to give him credit here. I have to give him like a credit, and then I'm going to have to take it away later. Because on one hand, hey, we have a Batman playing hurt. His ribs are hurting him, and every time he's like opening like the shaft and everything of the vents. It's kind of hurting. There's some strain there. That's good. On the other hand, we don't pay off that he's actually learned how to fight. That's a big problem. That's a very Okay, so
a little bit of a Homer Simpson there. Sorry.
No, I remember the whole that's bad.
That's good. That's bad. Yeah. I feel like that's the Simpsons equivalent of good idea, bad idea.
I know. Yeah, that's what I mean. You say like you're thinking of like good idea, bad idea.
Dragon, I'm sure we've made this reference before, but oh my god, if they ever made an Animaniacs ride. Good idea, bad idea absolutely has to be the fucking safety video.
Yeah, of course.
Anyways.
All right, so Batman enters, but he's being followed by a shadowy figure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's see. Zander. Zander makes a sales pitch to Max. I'm offering you the future via the past. Dinosaurs, they ruled the earth.
It's so fucking stupid.
It is. No disagreement.
Stupid.
I feel so bad for Berkowitz. I think he was stuck with this.
Right. I could see that.
I don't see how anyone if Berkowitz did, he was having an off day. If not, I think it feels more Rich Fogel to me. This feels like a bad Justice League plot. And I want to be clear, Rich Fogel's not a bad Justice League writer. I'm just saying this feels like maybe the weaker side of the Justice League episodes. Anyway. So, the point being, the plan is we combine, we make the ultimate life form that can dominate the planet. So half person, half dinosaur. Basically.
Sure. Why the fuck not? Basically the scrapped Jurassic Park 4 script, Dragon.
Exactly.
Because even the people behind the fucking Jurassic Park movies knew that this idea was too stupid.
And ultimately, they kind of did it in essentially Jurassic Park 5.
Kind of.
They were getting there.
Go the whole, at least they have the restraint to not have it be like in the next movie after that. She's like full on got scales and shit. You know what I mean?
They want the direction of Locust.
Yeah, you're goddamn right, because even that was less stupid than fucking human hybrid dinosaurs.
I gotta be honest, I would take that over Locust. Just if we're gonna reach if they saved it for the end, it's like,
the one thing I will defend about the Locust is that it was a genuinely pretty Michael Crichton-y plot.
Yeah,
it feels like something that Crichton would write in a Jurassic sequel. That's what I'll say about the Locust.
Yes, but for the whole movie though.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Anyway.
Better than Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They're both not.
It's better than Fallen Kingdom. Come on now. We got some Goldblum. We got some Goldblum, Dragon. We got more than one scene of Goldblum.
If you put like a if you put like a little pie chart next to it in terms of like the quality, like a graph of some kind, you see like here's how much we got right, here's how much we did not agree. I don't know. I think you're gonna find more.
Okay, look, we literally did a whole podcast about how I think that movie's a little bit overhated. Anyways, this clearly goes to show we really don't have a lot to say about this actual episode.
All right. Anyway, okay, so now this let me tell you how I felt about this. So yeah, he's making the sales pitch about the whole world of like half dinosaur people, and it's like I get it now. You're completely you're crazy, certifiable, in need of medication.
I don't know. I thought that was a funny Cree Summers line.
No, that's a funny Chris Summers line, but I think it's so funny that we just kind of we kind of stole from Demon's Quest there a little bit. The whole like Ray Shiggle's making a sales pitch to Batman, and Kevin Conroy says so sardonically, "I can see it clearly now. For the first time, you are completely out of your mind."
yeah.
So it's like feels like okay, yeah, that's I gotta Tiki. I swear to you, like between that and the Damian Wayne, that's when it really clicked. Like, oh my god, we tried to make him Ray Shuggle, we failed miserably.
right.
Like, wow. Anyway, so he shows her the the splicing in action, like turning people into half dinosaur, half men. Then lays out the whole plan of like the thermal bomb's going to go off. The temp like it will cause a chain reaction across the globe when they drop it in a volcano, and basically the whole planet's temperature will rise. People will die, and the half dinosaur people will live on forever.
Fucking genius. Absolutely goddamn genius. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Now the reason he says this is basically he's trying to sweeten the pot here. Like, I chose you to survive. This is your only chance to survive. Like, that's gonna ingratiate her. Like, go with me or die.
Right, exactly.
It's me or death. I think that it worked out in that Disney movie. The whole it's freeze to death or like hang out with me for a few days.
Sure.
Worked out.
What Disney movie are you talking about?
Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you and your father can kind of freeze to death, or
I don't know. Something tells me. Okay, now I'm just fucking picturing like a montage, something there montage between Zander and Max.
Oh god. I can change him into what? Maybe more of a snake than a dinosaur.
The Rob Walker dinosaur's just off to the side, being like, "Oh, those two cute kids." God.
Yeah. Okay, here's what cracks me up. You're gonna love this. Okay, this is what cracks me up. Okay, so she says no. She's not feeling this at all. Like the Zander leaves to detonate the bomb. Well, I'm going to go detonate the bomb. And like on his way out, he whispers to the doctor, "Splicer."
Right. I did catch that.
Just to see, like literally a few minutes ago, he laid out the whole like, no. I'm sure
she's a person.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Then we have like the dumb line too when he's in the hallway saying, "Hey, you might be taking orders from her someday." He's like, "Oh my god, what? Really?"
Okay, you know what, Dragon? I'm sorry. I take it back. You're absolutely right. This episode is just as fucking bad as part 1. It's got a few redeeming elements of it, but it's so goddamn stupid.
All right. So Batman overhears this, says she's rude, she's sarcastic, she's got no respect. Definitely Max.
Right.
All right, so Batman charges in, saves her from being spliced, and this is kind of a cute thing. She gives him a big hug while he's got cracked ribs.
No, that was adorable. And again, Max and Terry, ship it.
Again, him pointing out, like, nice outfit with the slave Leia look. All right, so then let's see. Next to Zander, you looked almost normal.
Again, I love their dynamic, Dragon. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Also, where's Dana been this past couple episodes? She's been kind of not really that much of a presence in season 3 in general. Just saying.
Well, it's in Dana's contract. She doesn't do the slave Leia look.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. All right, so well, yeah, he tried to turn me into a dinosaur. Wait, what? Just like, no, don't worry about it. We got So Terry crashes through the exit thanks to the suit. Then we reveal the fortress is airborne. That's a problem. So the plan is we're going to get.
I want to just point out Terry specifically says that is not good, and it cuts to commercial. And I wrote down, "Thanks for the input, Terry." Just Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a kind of a redundant line,
It
especially
does.
to cut the commercial on.
Yep.
Like, no, you think this isn't good, Terry? Yeah. Anyways.
Now, in hindsight, he probably just could have summoned the car to get him. In hindsight.
Right.
So the plan is like, okay, I'm going to get you down here, and then I'll get in the Batmobile and I'll fly back here. So that she warns him about the bomb. Of course, as this goes on, for the third time, it's the nunchuck guy. He shows up again. So he and Terry mix it up, and Terry, he does this really sweet move to take him out, though, where he basically, he grapples with him while he's on the way down to yank him out with him, and then he basically kind of like catapults him into the side of the fortress to knock him out. Finally, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. I gotta be, it's probably one of the great action beats of the episode when he does that.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so during this organization, a freaking ninja, saves Max. See, Terry, we're going to get on that later. So Terry gets firm with Max. He tells her, like, hey, you're going to stay here in this room. He's going to come to regret that later. You're going to stay here in this room while I go stop the bomb. And Max, she's nonplussed. Kobra, they're heading towards the volcano to drop the bomb. It's the moment Zander's whole life has been amounting to, the age of the Kobra. Which, again, huge missed opportunity here. Just, again, if you're gonna make him your Ra's al Ghul, like, this is really like, we're gonna turn him into a dinosaur. That's his plan.
But again, it's not even like, it would have been maybe a little bit more effective if what he's turning into is actually a snake. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you're, by the way, just to explain it, so why they went with dinosaurs instead of snakes, I think ultimately it was like snakes would have been without arms. They needed them to have arms and legs.
Then why name them Kobra?
Well, because they had Kobra, but I don't know. It was just like this dumb thing. And I think the logic was we're going to make the dinosaurs kind of snake-like, but they realized, well, we have to set up why it's dinosaur-like, so we have to go to Natural History Museum, so it has to be a dinosaur. It's like, at that point, it just feels like they were trapped in the writing again. It was Tiki. It was as an episode no one was thrilled with. All right, it's
just dumb.
Yes. No, it's just dumb. But this. I guess what I'm getting at, Tiki, is it kind of occurs to me that if this was an episode they were building to, and Kobra is such a pointless rogues in the rogues gallery, it feels like they had two choices and they ended up with the lesser choice. Like, if they didn't have Ra's al Ghul in this series, that's how we could have improved Kobra. Or better yet, our idea earlier of King Tut. We legitimize King Tut. I still like that.
Yeah. I do like that.
But you see what I mean? Like, again, if we had no Ra's al Ghul, we would have done a legitimized King Tut in place of Ra's al Ghul.
Uh-huh.
Ultimately, it's like we have Kobra and we have Ra's al Ghul. We did the better story there with Dini and everything on it. So now we're just kind of stuck with, well, Kobra is kind of an aimlessly kind of terrorist organization. So what are they going to do? Well, they don't care about the environment. They just want this. They just want to be dinosaurs for reasons. Reasons. But the other thing, too, with the reasons is it feels a lot like a borrowed Spider-Man plot. You know what that Spider-Man plot is?
Is it from the 60s show?
No, I mean, in general, it's the lizard. The lizard always wants to turn people into lizard people.
Well, my familiarity with the lizard is kind of more just the more old school, just he wants to, save his arm, but I digress.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying when he turns into the lizard, that's kind of what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, look.
Dragon, I'm not gonna lie, I'm losing gas on this episode quick. Let's just get through this, all right?
Okay, great. Okay, the point being, yet another Spider-Man reference for Batman Beyond. That's all I'm getting at. Okay. So, they don't really pay off that Terry's improved his fighting prowess at all, especially now he's fighting dino monsters who aren't really like, hey, let's show off my fighting prowess with these these equally skilled combatants. No, they're just monster men. Like, arr. So, we reveal Kairi is the ninja, which is a really nice nod to Kyodai Ken from Night of the Ninja. I thought that was a really nice payoff for her.
Yeah, it was a decent payoff. I think one of the issues, though, is as the episode ends, I just feel like her dying. I kind of feel like we should have had a little bit more with her, considering where we end off on it.
I don't disagree.
Or maybe confirm that it's her, like, sooner than literally a minute or two before she dies.
Yeah, we didn't really need her to sneak up. Like we didn't need to build someone's tracking them and following there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, how many people can it be? We know it's not going to be Bruce Wayne. He's not physically capable enough for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I like what we get with her, but you're right. It's just, it feels like we've condensed things down. We spent too much time on the recap, and there's not enough budget to pad out the episode. I don't know. It's a whole thing there. Okay, so Kairi, she ends up saving the world though. She's kind of redeemed the ninja in a sense. She's she deactivates the bomb, saves the world, and her and Terry they fight Zander Lizard. The Dino Zander, who's upset now because basically points out, now I'm gonna die. You wrecked my whole plan. How long do you think I'm gonna survive like this? Cold's my weakness. Yeah, you made your own. You chose your own path, kid. So she's laying it. She's calling it as she sees it. You picked the wrong path, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Some neat bits with the fire extinguisher. Anyways, the whole place goes down. Fire, fire explosions and such. Kairi directs Terry and Max to the escape pods, and she sacrifices herself. Then makes him leave her behind. It's a good sacrifice for her,
Yeah, it's a good plot point for sure. Again, I just kind of feel like it's a little bit thankless, just considering how much this character and Bruce Wayne, the deep ties that they have.
Mm-hmm. So appropriately though, we do end there. It was a nice moment. Like her last words, like "keep your guard up, kid," especially on your left side. Then the sacrifice, and then we end on the little funeral scene.
Mm-hmm.
This was nice, just like Terry. By the way, so rare. This might be. I guess thinking about it now, I think this is the only time they're in the same place at the same time. Terry, Bruce Wayne, and Max.
Really? It's the only time?
I mean, if you think about it, where is Terry? They are not all three of them together.
Right.
Well, Max is being led away at the very end. I don't think that really counts. So, that's the only time the three of them are in the same physical space.
No, that's actually crazy that you bring that up. That's actually really cool.
And you know what? It's a meaningful moment for Bruce. It's kind of nice that Max is there because, again, he knew this girl. They had that experience in Japan. So it's just this moment of she was a good teacher. And then Bruce Wayne getting some great Conroy there. The best.
Mm. So I don't really think there's a lot of good Great Conroy moments. What do you think would be the one for you?
Oh boy. Well, again, I know the one that hits me in the feels is Sorry Old Habits. But beyond that, Have You Forgotten Who You're Talking To is pretty good.
I would sign off on Have You Forgotten Who You're Talking To.
Yeah, but again,
They're both good.
I know, but blaming's not productive is a really good Batman line. So maybe that one's actually a great cut. I don't know. There's a lot of good options. One of those.
All right. So, yeah, final thoughts, Dragon. I'm not going to lie. Coming into this, I was entertained enough by this episode as far as, just it being kind of batshit crazy and Max having some fun stuff to do. But man, actually having to break it down, I couldn't do it, Dragon. I lost my willpower to break this down in any sort of meaningful way. This episode it really just goes off the rails, and in a fun way, sure, but not in any sort of meaningful way. I don't know. This is combined, these two episodes are definitely one of the worst of the series, I would say.
I would concur. I mean, I'd have to look back on, but this part 2 specifically might be the worst episode of Batman Beyond. It might be.
You know what? I still think Century of the Cosmos is a lot.
Oh, you know what? You're right. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're no actually that
because at the very least, this episode has some good Max and Bruce Wayne stuff.
No,
you're
right.
Least.
Forget what I said. For a moment, that's what I said. I'd have to go back, but instinctively though. Centuries of the Last Cosmos is always going to be the worst episode of Batman Beyond.
I think so. I think that's very fair, yeah.
Okay, so this is the second worst episode.
All right.
And appropriately, a part 2. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I like that's the best I can say about it is the Kairi stuff. That's the best. That and the Conroy lines. That's the best. That's the element of the episode I really like. But aside from that, this is not a good episode.
It's just dumb. All right.
Yes,
Big
dumb.
thanks to Kokios, and take us out.
A fugitive returns to Gotham. Mad Stan makes a friend. Diedrich Bader in a Batman show? Can Batman save Zeta before he blows everyone up? Does this synthoid have spin-off potential? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Countdown. I'm a dinosaur, and she's a person!